This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and Crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Good morning. We're back at it. Another Saturday morning with the W Show, talking sports and pop culture. You're listening to the W Show on 100.1 FM, 1 Kansas City Radio. Watching us live on one of our many social media pages, the W Show KC. We appreciate you tuning in. My name is Steve Walls, and as always, I am joined by the other host of the show, Jazz DJ Q. How is everyone this morning?
I'm good. It's been a long. It felt like a long week, but it's been good.
Yeah, it's been good, man. Good, man. You know, the sun is shining. What more can we ask for?
Anything new happening this week?
No. I mean, I've successfully, shielded off anybody trying to raid my house like the Capitol. So, you know.
You got it like Fort Knox over there, man. So I doubt they try to run up in your career. Coming up on today's show, Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy has reportedly completed head coaching interviews with 5 teams. You will be able to hear our thoughts on which opening is the best fit for EB. Also, more turmoil in Houston. This time it's not the Houston Rockets, but the Texans. We will see what's up with Deshaun Watson and why he's unhappy. And coming up in about 30 minutes, we will talk about our sneakers of the week during our Hate It or Love It segment. But let's get to our headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on the W with Walls and the Crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Arguably the hottest head coach candidate on the market is none other than Chiefs offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy. And he's been reportedly, he's completed head coaching interviews with 5 teams. Which opening is the best fit for EB? Q, I'll start with you. When you look at the interviews that he's completed with the Atlanta Falcons, Detroit Lions, both of those were on Monday. And then according to ESPN's Adam Schefter, Bieniemy also completed an interview with the Los Angeles Chargers on Tuesday and wrapped up interviews with the Jets and the Jaguars on Wednesday. Which of those teams is the best fit to you?
I still like the Jaguars, as I was saying Monday. But you look at ownership, GM, front office, you know, how that fits. And I like Jacksonville because they have a lot of money to spend on players. And then they have quite a few picks coming up. So you look at that, if EB can go into Jacksonville, really change the culture, get some new players, a lot of young talent, you'd be looking at a team that, you know, in the next 2 years would look like the Miami Dolphins kind of look right now. A team that's really on the ascent, but as you make the point, the Chargers could be that team. Mm-hmm. And especially with him, that being his hometown, he could definitely make a splash out there, and especially with a young quarterback. But I kind of like that Detroit. I like how Detroit sounds. And especially seeing him with a team like that and being able to, Matthew Stafford's not really a bad quarterback. Mm-hmm. He's not as consistent in the clutch. But yeah, I definitely still like Jacksonville, and then I like LA.
Yeah, and I definitely thought it would be LA. And I know a lot of people are, the Atlanta Falcons, that's another good, landing spot for EB, but I don't really think so. you know, when you look at the Atlanta Falcons overall, I mean, look at their quarterback situation. They're, you know, Matt Ryan, he has 1 foot and possibly an arm out the door, right? And then you look at their wide receiver situation. It's like, okay, will Julio Jones be healthy enough to keep going in Atlanta, or you know, is he already out the door as well? Now, I think LA, to me, seems like the best fit. I mean, like you said, Q, he's from there. You know, he played with the Chargers when they were in San Diego. He's with family. I think family rules everything, right? If his, and I don't know where his wife is from, but I think if most of his family, and if she's from LA, I think that will be, you know, the best spot for him.
And Atlanta's not really. I wouldn't look at Atlanta as a spot that Eric Bieniemy would go because of Matt Ryan. I mean, what can Eric Bieniemy do with that? He's not mobile. He's not athletic. He can throw the football, and that's about it. And in today's NFL, and we've seen it as far back as Randall Cunningham and Fran Tarkington, like quarterbacks that are athletic and mobile, and can throw the ball, they're going to be a lot more productive than your average white quarterback that stands in the pocket like a statue.
Right. Now, Jazz, I know many people thought the EB would choose the Houston Texans. He's another one. That's another one of those teams where it's like, all right, well, the Texans, Deshaun Watson wanted them, and I know we'll talk about Deshaun Watson a little bit later in the show. But Houston didn't even request an interview. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and I was surprised, especially with Deshaun Watson putting in a little bit of input and speaking highly of them to the coaching. But I think in this case, it's more about what the people in the front office want to have for a look of the organization than about football and what Deshaun wants. And obviously we see that's why he's not very happy right now and he's not being heard. And I think it's understandably so. I don't think that in any way EB isn't qualified for the position. I think that it's more about those people in the front office.
Now, Jazz, you know, talked about the front office. When you look at these the other teams, as we mentioned before, the Jets, the Jaguars, those are two teams that, you know, had losing seasons this year. Are those two landing spots? Are they capable of acquiring a coach like Eric Bieniemy?
I think when it comes to new head coaching hires, you are going to see that head coach set up with the best possible situation. I'm talking front office. I'm talking, you know, players. I'm talking culture. It has to be a fit. And also when we're dealing with somebody like an Eric Bieniemy who will be a black head coach, you don't always see them thrown into the best positions where it's a fit. So honestly, out of all these places, I feel like it's going to have to come down to him. Where does he feel the most comfortable? Where does he feel like he has the most support? Where does he feel like he'll be able to come in and immediately enforce his culture, and inject his culture into the team? So honestly, all those teams have pretty weak front offices as far as you can see, these aren't perennial winners. That this isn't like a Green Bay who had a down season and now they need a new head coach. These are teams, Jaguars, Chargers, that are just perennially haven't been very good. Personally, right. I would like to see him go to a Jacksonville just because I feel like they don't have a culture at the moment, and they have the number one pick. And Trevor Lawrence is definitely going to be the number one pick. So I would love to see him, you know, start it off, you know, with that push in the right direction of having a Trevor Lawrence who is a, once every 10-year talent, I feel like, at the quarterback position. So I would definitely like to see him go somewhere where he just has, you know, the full support of the players and the front office, whoever that might be.
Q, Noah talked about the full support of the front office. You guys seem like you're leaning towards Jacksonville. So the owner of the Jacksonville Jaguars came out, I believe it was last week or week before last, and he talked about, you know, he didn't have much input on the Jaguars the past few years, and he was kind of hands off with it. Well, now he's saying he wants to be more hands on. When an owner or when an employer says that, a boss says that, that means they want to be a micromanager. I don't think Eric Bieniemy is the type of person that wants to be micromanaged. Your thoughts?
Yeah, and I don't know much about that person you're speaking of, but with him wanting to be hands-on, maybe that just shows a little more care. I won't say that it's always like micromanaging. Maybe he just feel like he didn't play as much of a role in the team that he should have. And that in the interview process, I think that's something, that they can talk about. And then when we talk about hiring, I think laying those things out and specifying exactly what, Eric needs, not only for himself, but what he needs from, ownership and management. And if that can get ironed out, yes, like Noel said, it's a culture that can change. And we've seen cultures be changed by coaches, and sometimes even players. Like you look at the Houston Texans, the coach that they just let go, he wasn't responsible for that culture. That was Deshaun Watson. That was the players that came in with their talent, being able to win. And, we've seen they can win with an interim coach. So again, if they get a coach like Eric Bieniemy to come in, change the culture and also develop the players, there's shifts in the culture that can happen.
Well, we're not going to have to worry about them winning today because our football games are on today and tomorrow. And the Chiefs have a first round bye, but I want to take a look at some playoff scenarios for this team. Now, today's game starting, in just under an hour, if the Colts upset the Bills, the Chiefs will play the Colts since they are the lower seed. Now, the Colts play the Bills at 1:05 Eastern time on CBS. And then, of course, the Rams and the Seahawks play at 4, and Buccaneers Washington plays at 8:15. Of those games today, who all do you see as the winners?
Colts may shock the world. And I really only say that because when you look at the playoffs, whether it's NBA, whether it's NFL, you normally have a hot team that comes in. And last year in the NFL, that hot team that went into the playoffs, especially in the AFC, was the Ravens. And the Ravens had their first week off. They got the, they got the rest and everything. And then they came in first game and got manhandled by the Titans. And I feel like the Colts are that Titans kind of team where, people will sleep on them. And they're a well-built team. And the Bills are somewhat hot coming into the playoffs. Josh Allen has definitely gotten on the same page with Stephon Diggs, and really made an impact for the team late in the season. But what Josh Allen will we get today?
Right.
The same question we had when they played the Chiefs earlier in the season. Will he come out and perform like he has been? And I think the Colts kind of shocked the world today, possibly. Other games, who else was? I think you said Seahawks Rams today.
Yep.
Seahawks, I think, get that. I don't see Jared Goff doing much with to compete with Russ. And then there's one more game. Which one did you say?
Buccaneers at Washington.
Yeah, Bucks. Washington's done.
You think so? I think my sleeper game. Jazz, tell me if I'm wrong, but I think the Washington football team and Alex Smith. Of course, it hasn't been announced yet, but I believe he's the comeback player of the year. I think that the Washington football team will beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. Alex Smith is washed. Yeah, I mean not Alex Smith, but Tom Brady.
Yeah, you said it right the first time.
It wasn't right.
Right.
Yeah, you're the ball, Steve. Right. Ball don't lie.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you that you're wrong on that one. I think that Washington's done. Buccaneers are just trying to make it out of there healthy.
Hey, and you know what that was, Jazz? Steve hates Tom Brady. And so when we talk about basketball, he also hates LeBron James. So
Look, my Tom Brady hate isn't as bad as LeBron James hate. That's just it. I'm being honest.
at least he admits it today.
All right, looking at tomorrow's lineup of games, Ravens at Titans at 1:05 p.m. and then Bears Saints, Browns Steelers. Now the Browns Steelers, when you look at that game, I think if the Browns are able to beat the Steelers and then the Bills beat the Colts, the Browns will come into Kansas City and there will be a Kareem Hunt sighting once again at Arrowhead Stadium. Noah, your thoughts?
When it comes to like the Browns, obviously they're at the disadvantage going into their wild card game. Down a few coaches, a few players because of the COVID outbreak. For their first playoff game in 18 years. How unlucky can you get? But it's any given Sunday. You got to get on the field and play who's across from you. So, but when it comes to them playing the Chiefs, they have the 5th ranked rushing attack in the league. Not so good against the pass. So I think what it comes down to, if they're going to come into Arrowhead and possibly squeak out a win, they're going to have to run for over 250 to 300 yards. Ball control will be key. No turnovers. That defense is going to have to play a darn near perfect game against Patrick Mahomes that we've seen in the playoffs be absolutely electric. He steps his play up so much in the playoffs that it's kind of ridiculous. But the Browns, they're at a disadvantage this playoffs. I mean, obviously if they win this weekend, they'll be able to get their coaches and players back for next week, and that bodes well for them. But it's a daunting task ahead, just trying to win to get out of this weekend. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm actually rooting for the Browns just because they haven't been relevant, and so they haven't been relevant since what have I done since I've been 12 years old? It's been a while.
It's been a long while.
It's been a long while. So I am sort of rooting for them to maybe win this weekend and then possibly play the Chiefs, see how it shakes out. But they're at a definite disadvantage.
And someone else who's rooting for the Browns is the Westlake, Ohio Police Department. And this story right here is crazy. As Browns Rashard Higgins traffic stop video shows, the police officer ordered the wide receiver to stomp on alleged weed and kick it in the sewer. So TMZ, as always, they've obtained a dash footage of Rashard Hollywood Higgins' recent traffic stop. Now, it shows that the cop ordering Cleveland Browns receiver to destroy an alleged marijuana joint on camera. Let's see that video.
All right. So right now you're getting a drag racing ticket because you guys are side by side, engines are racing, you're flying down Crocker. There's people doing construction over there. If you didn't notice that, it's pretty reckless on your part. You got weed in the car?
No, sir.
Why does it smell like it then?
Smoked yesterday.
You smoked yesterday and it smells that strong?
It was in the car. Well, smoke in the car.
All right. Well, that's probable cause to go ahead and search your vehicle. So if you have it, if it's a little bit of it.
It's not in my car.
Nothing in your car?
No, I'll get out if I want to.
You will. Just hang tight. We'll get you out in a sec. You go ahead and put your wallet and phone up on the dashboard. Step on, watch the back of your vehicle. Gonna walk to the back door.
Okay. Anything on you? Personal use?
Yesterday.
It was yesterday, but you have nothing today. That's what I'm asking because it smells pretty strong. What's that right there?
I didn't know if I had that on me.
You forgot you had that?
Yeah.
All right. Anything else in the vehicle that you forgot about?
Yeah, I forgot.
We'll be doing the PC search.
Well, listen, I'll be cool with you. I won't jam you up for your joint you had on there. That'll be pretty bad for press, right?
Yeah.
You're going to get the drag racing ticket. That's it. You're going to destroy that on camera in front of you here.
Yeah, I'm better than that.
You are better than that, and you guys are celebrities around here, so you don't want that hitting the news, okay? So I'll cut you a break on that.
We got to do it on camera because evidence. You go up there and do that.
Go ahead and step on with your foot and kick it in the sewer. All right.
Now, Westlake, Ohio is a suburb about 20 minutes from Cleveland, Ohio, and is also about 10 minutes from Rocky River, Ohio, where, if you guys remember, and I know Chiefs fans remember, running back Kareem Hunt, who we just talked about, was when he was pulled over about 3 years ago for weed and also taken to jail. Turn of events, Q. Your thoughts on about this?
Definitely turn of events. We love to see cops that show humanity. We love to see cops that understand. And obviously that cop doesn't have racist glasses, at least from that incident. And that's the type of policing we like to see. People make mistakes, and sometimes our mistake of being born black is handled a lot more heavy-handed than that, and we just I'd love to see that. Like, that's a round of applause for that job.
now, Jazz, how does this bode for the NFL? And of course, there's a substance abuse policy, right? Means they can't do drugs, pretty much. What are your thoughts on this? Because he's openly admitted to smoking weed.
Right. And I think it's only a matter of time for the NFL to kind of somewhat get on board. We see, obviously, with the NBA not testing anymore. And I think that it's no secret. We know that it happens. And so I think it's just a matter of time for the NFL to follow the NBA's suit.
No, when you watch this video, what are your thoughts as you saw the police officer tell Rashad Higgins to kick the marijuana into the sewer?
It actually made me feel a little bit better about the times. I can say I've been pulled over quite a bit. DWB.
Say no.
I said DWB, man. DWB.
Yeah.
And for various things, and I can honestly say that more often than not, my interactions with the police were similar to that. Now, obviously not with, the marijuana, more on the traffic side of things, but it's just, I think it's good for the world to actually see that, like, police officers can actually use discretion and actually police, more on the humanity side of things more than this is the law side of things, because we are human. We do make mistakes. We do, I mean, I don't know. I think they also were drag racing. Him and another teammate, they were also drag racing. But at the same time, this police officer saw these kids and they're like, man, like, you better than that. I expect better. You're a prominent member of this community. We're rooting for you. We just kind of need you to do a little bit better. And we're not going to jam you up. We're not going to make you look bad. Obviously, the video is out, so everybody can take it and do what they will with it. But I think it just shows, the good side of what actually policing should be versus this is the law and this is what you should be doing. So it actually made me feel a little bit good to see that video.
Now, as much as I want to believe it's good policing, I still have to look at the facts here. The Browns haven't made the playoffs in plenty of years, right?
Yeah.
This police officer doesn't want to be that guy that is amongst his peers and is like, man, why did you? We're already down a few players. You're going to add this on when he just had a little bit of marijuana, right? That was something that's going to be in a few years, not even going to be.
That's the point, though.
So
that's the point. The little bit of weed is the point.
Yeah, I think it's more or less of, all right, man, we're going to kick this under the rug so you can go out there and have a good game. So that way the city of Cleveland won't beat me up about it.
Yeah, no. And that's another factor to it. And I think that was part of my you know, he didn't have on his racist glasses at that incident. But that, I mean, that cop just in that interaction, he sounded very understanding and really basically investigated the situation and saw what it was for, and you know, decided, hey, would, you know, teach this young kid a lesson at some point, talk to him, and hopefully I don't see you again. And that's what I like, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
now we can't leave this topic without giving Rashad Higgins a
Big dummy.
oh yeah, no, definitely, because he's being reckless.
The drag
on our
racing
team.
part,
right.
Yeah, the drag racing part is
for a construction
the
zone
bad
too.
part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more time
Yeah.
for him.
Big dummy.
Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski tests positive for COVID-19. So more news coming out of Cleveland earlier this week with Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski. 2 additional members of the coaching staff and 2 players have also tested positive for COVID-19 and will not be available for the AFC wildcard game against the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday night. Should this game be rescheduled? You guys thought?
No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't be. You like I said earlier, you play who's in front of you in whatever condition they are. This would be no different than somebody, you know, a freak accident happening and a couple players get injured. I mean, it is listed as an injury almost. So it sucks for the Browns. Again, it really does. But at the same time, you can't really fault the Pittsburgh Steelers because they didn't have an outbreak. And whether that's luck or actually, you know, adhering to the protocols, Pittsburgh Steelers, they're healthy. So I don't feel like you should penalize them. And I mean, I also don't feel like the Browns, I know they didn't do it on purpose. I feel like that at the same time it happened, and I mean, you just have to play the game at this point.
Now here's my thoughts on this. If I am the Cleveland Browns and I'm Baker Mayfield, of course Baker and the Browns, since their coach tested positive, they automatically, since the NFL's protocols are to close facilities, so the team hasn't practiced or anything since they played their game last Sunday. So Baker hasn't thrown a ball in 5 days, 6 days. When you think about it, I would come together as a team and say, hey, let's try to make a stand here. Let's hold the NFL accountable and say, all right, our team isn't going to play. We've come together and said, you either give us a pass or we not going to play. And see what the NFL does. I mean, there's a lot of money on this game, whether it be from betting, whether it be from TV revenue. The NFL stands to lose a lot. Now, I don't think that they would cause them to be a forfeit. Jazz, your thoughts on that?
I don't think that it necessarily should be changed. I think also I had to compare it to the other situations, like with New York, how they're opening up their stadiums to bring in more fans. So I think it would be almost contradicting on one hand for them to be opening up some stadiums to have more fans, but here they are canceling another team's games. And I think that it's just unfortunate and they'll have to play through it.
Q?
Yeah, I kind of echo Jazz's sentiments. I wouldn't understand making a shift in a schedule that's set. And especially at this point in the season, playoff games, get it over with. Let's just get it all over with. And hopefully by next season, we don't have to worry about COVID, which, that's a long shot.
And I'm going to get all 3 of you all's opinion on this. If it's the Chiefs and if it's Patrick Mahomes and he knock on wood, is placed on the COVID list, does the NFL move the game?
Possibly for them.
That's an interesting point. Yeah, that's an interesting point. Because we're talking about the best player in the league. We can compare it to, like, if the Los Angeles Lakers, if LeBron said he wasn't playing in the bubble, do you really think there would be a bubble? That's an interesting point that you bring up. But at the same time, I just feel like what you should do is you should just play. Like, if Patrick Mahomes contracts the virus and God forbid he can't play, somebody's going to have to step up and play the game, because that's just kind of how that's the climate we're in at the moment. So that's where I stand on it.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we're going to finish our headline segment and then move on to our Hater 11. We'll be right back. This is the W.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Dre, when he was younger, he loved to smile. And we knew he would need braces because his teeth were coming in funny. That's when he had the bunny rabbits. We called them the bunny rabbit.
Now, those are the same two front teeth there that they are now.
Then Dre ended up having to wear braces for 5 years because he never made it to appointments because he was busy playing basketball. If he missed practice, he don't get to play in the game.
This is the picture that was on the front page of the newspaper. All you can notice is the braces.
Then once he got to Michigan State, he broke the retainer.
My bottom teeth, they were really crooked, and I just wasn't getting braces again. Small Direct Club fits into my lifestyle so well. The liner is so great. It's easy to just grab it and go, and then I can change on the road. I did photo shoots with my liners in, and you can't see them.
I wish Smile Direct Club would have been around when I was paying for them. I wouldn't have had to take them out of school. I wouldn't have had to miss work.
It's like a great feeling to have good teeth. A smile is a first impression. That's why I think having a great smile is so important.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Welcome back to the W Show, live on 100.1 FM and social media. Remember to interact with our show. Use hashtag talk about it and message us, and we will talk about whatever topic you want to talk about. Let's continue on with our headlines. So we talked about it before, and especially going into last week, and that's about players wanting to get their incentives that are based on their contracts. And I wanted to sit out games, like Chiefs have rested their starters against the Falcons last week, and it was reported that Chris Jones wanted to get his incentives. I believe he had a couple more tackles and possibly a sack to where he would get an extra, basically it's an added bonus onto his already made out contract. Now, basically those incentives leads, like I said, extra money. And Seattle Seahawks QB Russell Wilson changed the end of the game call to help David Moore reach $100,000 earlier this week. And that was with under 30 seconds to go in Sunday's Week 17 game against the 49ers. Moore was stuck at 34 receptions. And in normal circumstances, Seattle would have just taken a final knee and let the clock run out. But Russell Wilson decided to help his teammate get the bag. Let's see.
Against Tom Brady and the Bucs. 22 seconds remaining. It's David Moore on the toss from Russell Wilson.
I'm not following this.
Do not take a knee.
Well, there are no timeouts by the 49ers. They have no timeouts left. And then they kind of throw a pass. That's a pass to David Moore, runs out of bounds. I guess they wanted to get him a reception in this game. Other than that, I can't figure out why they would call that.
Russ, I'm hoping you can confirm a social media rumor for us. David Moore, the pass there at the end. Why did you guys call that play?
Yeah, we called that play because David had $100,000 if he gets that catch. So, it's a blessing to be able to help his family and his daughter and all that stuff. So that's it's part of the game. We wanted to get him that catch, and so we were able to dial that up for him that last play.
Yeah.
Jazz.
Oh my God.
I love to see it. Of course, in these positions, I know sometimes I mentioned last week why risk getting hurt. But I think if you're only one away, why not chase the bag, go for it? And so I love to see it.
But Q, did you see Pete Carroll's face? Yes. Like, what are we doing?
Yes.
But he knew.
Yes.
It took him a minute, but he figured it out. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No, he knew because he was being a coach. And if oh my God, I wish you had the screenshot right now. But if we could screenshot his face at a certain point, that is a coach that has lost a Super Bowl, just by one play. Just one play, very end of the game. But again, he's looking at it in this situation. Playoffs are on the line. This is a division rival. You see that look on his face. And then after a few seconds, it eases because he's like, "Oh yeah, okay, oh yeah, okay." And so he, you see it kind of ease up in real time, and that was the funny part for me because all he knew is the play was changed.
No,
love to see it. What I like about it is it shows these quarterbacks attention to detail and paying attention and knowing your players. I mean, Russell Wilson, he literally said, "I did it for his family. Like I did it, to give, it feels good to, give, help him achieve that goal and get that bonus." I think it just shows how elite a quarterback Russell Wilson actually is. And I mean, Tom Brady had one to Antonio Brown this past weekend. I think that's really the difference between an elite quarterback and a very good one. Is those quarterbacks are looking at all of those details. They're looking at everything because going forward, that's going to build rapport. So you love to see it.
Well,
you love to see
and
it.
then you look at team dynamics also. If I want to talk about money on the Seahawks, what player am I going to? I'm probably going to the highest paid one. So I'm definitely going to talk money with Russell Wilson. So
exactly.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about it as well is the fact that what are the Seahawks going to do, right? Are they going to bench Russell Wilson, or are they going to do Russell Wilson like the Philadelphia Eagles did Jalen Hurts?
No,
I don't think so. And since we're talking about Jalen Hurts, he was benched by Doug Peterson, and Doug was criticized earlier this week following his decision to bench Jalen Hurts for Nate Sudfeld. Who? Nate Sudfeld. Yeah, that's right. During the second half of the Eagles' Week 17 loss to the Washington football team. Q, this is your team, the Philadelphia Eagles. What are your thoughts when you saw them bench Jalen Hurts for Doug?
for Nate Sudfeld.
For Nate Sudfeld.
I told you I had a conspiracy about that, and the broadcast for the whole game was hero ball for Alex Smith. When Alex Smith messed up, the commentators were trying to find a way to blame it on other players because it couldn't have been Alex Smith that did it. So my conspiracy theory, is that the NFL, called the ownership and was like, look, Jalen is outplaying this kid. Jalen is outplaying Alex Smith. Pull him out the game. This game doesn't matter to you all. But also on the coaching end, Jalen Hurts is their future, and it's obvious. And I think what gets lost in that is that Carson Wentz wasn't suited up. If you want to play, hey, this is a meaningless game. Hey, come in, risk injury. And I think that's a statement that Jalen is our future. I don't want him hurt in this last quarter of the game, especially going into next season. So this garbage time, we'll do that. I mean, of course, the fans want to be entertained by this 3-point game with, I think it was like 7 or 8 minutes left. Mm-hmm. Nobody cares about that game, and them winning that game does nothing for them. So again, I think it was a team decision. So yeah,
it would have done something for the Giants and Coach Joe Judge, whose team was relying on the Eagles to beat the Washington football team in order for the New York Giants to make the playoffs as the NFC East champion. No, I know we talked about this in the meeting a little bit earlier this week. Your thoughts on that?
A little bit to unpack. Just on the side of the Eagles, Jason Kelce actually said that Coach Doug Peterson had already planned before, the game even started to play Nate Sudfeld in the fourth quarter. I think that adds a little bit of an element to it. He said no matter what the score was, no matter how Jalen was playing, he was going to get a look at Nate Sudfeld. So I think on that end of things, I think he may have had a plan. Who knows? Like Q said, it could have come from very much up top and all the way down, and maybe that influenced that decision. But that wasn't a decision.
He was terrible when he put him in. That the look that he got, the showing that Sudfeld. I mean, he did 2 turnovers and was sacked twice in his 3 possessions. So he had a terrible showing.
And if he's
He was
still on the
bad. He was bad.
if he's
He
not
was
on
bad.
if he's not on the roster in August, that's why.
You want to win and put Booby in. That's all I got to say.
Yeah.
All right.
What
Houston
also
Texans
is funny
quarterback.
though. Oh,
Go ahead.
Yeah. No. Go ahead. Yeah.
All right, so Houston Texans quarterback Deshaun Watson unhappy with the Texans process and his lack of involvement in general manager hire. So Deshaun Watson, the NFL's passing yards leader in 2020, is not pleased with the Houston Texans. So NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reported Thursday that the multi-time Pro Bowler is extremely unhappy with the organization regarding the lack of involvement in and the process that led to the team's decision to hire Nick Caserio this week. Jazz, I know you had some strong thoughts about this situation. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I would say rightfully so. He obviously has reasons to be unhappy. Again, I think that it's the front office, and it has more to do with what they want and the look that they want rather than what Watson thinks is the right thing to do. And so I think at this point he's not wrong for trying to find a way out if he's not going to be listened to anyways.
No, Watson took to Twitter after the Caserio hire, and his post read, "Some things never change." And then Chiefs safety Tyrann Mathieu, also known as the landlord, once a teammate of Watson, responded, "If the Saints or Chicago, if I'm the Saints or Chicago, I'm all in on this Watson news." No, your thoughts?
If you don't have a quarterback right now, you need to be all in on this Watson news. And it goes back to what I said earlier about front offices. It really shows who actually wants to win and who actually is just there to run a business and to make money, which I mean is fine. But when it comes to you're dealing with a franchise quarterback who honestly is at worst a top 5 quarterback in the league, talent-wise, I feel like you need to listen to what he has to say when it comes to football. And if the Texans aren't willing to listen, I feel like one of these other teams out here that are struggling without a franchise quarterback will listen. And his tenure in Houston hasn't exactly been smooth. He's ran into these issues before about like not being listened to on personnel decisions, coaching decisions, just any it feels like he's just there, like, we just want you here to throw a football, be great, but we're not going to put you in positions for the team to be great, which you're measured on. We just want you to be the singular talent on our team, and it just looks really, really bad. So I don't know. I hope he gets out. I really want him to get out of there.
And Q, Texans owner Cal McNair has been reported by Ian Rappaport that he previously informed Watson that he would be involved in the process and he would ask him to provide feedback during the team's search for a GM and head coach. But to this point, that's not what happened.
Yeah, and I mean, you look at it. In 2018, when the Texans, well, I guess this was 17, but in 2017, when the Texans as a team decided to kneel for the anthem, the team owner called them inmates. So you add that thread into the whole thread of everything, letting go of your best player, for a pack of juicy fruit bubble gum. All of these things adds up. You have an owner that will lie to your face and will call you an inmate because you have black skin. So yes, it's time to get out of there. And so again, Jacksonville, a lot of money to spend, a lot of picks. They may be interested in Eric Bieniemy, So again, there's a lot of things that can shake up with this, but I just don't see this team owner letting him go. I think he needs to display control. But again, Deshaun, he can sit out, and we've seen Le'Veon Bell do it.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past him to sit out. The thing about it is, it's Houston sports. Something's in the water down there in Houston. The state of Texas needs to figure it out. I mean, you got James Harden wanting out. You got Deshaun Watson wanting out. What's going on down there in Texas? No,
What's really crazy about it is Houston is such a great place to like live and just be at that like you kind of overlook what's actually going on above you until it all comes to, you know, it all hits the fan. And right now it's hitting the fan in both franchises, but it's like, man, it's Houston, Texas. Like, why wouldn't I want to live here? But dang, my boss kind of sucks, if I'm being honest.
Kinda, he does.
So, yeah.
All right, Alabama wide receiver Devontae Smith wins the Heisman Trophy and 2 other awards earlier this week. So Devontae Smith became the first wide receiver to win the Heisman Trophy since Desmond Howard in 1991. Smith also garnered the 2020 Walter Camp Player of the Year and a 2020 Biletnikoff Award in honor that goes to the best receiver in college football.
Domination. This kid is lightning in a bottle. He's amazing. We all know that when it comes to MVPs and Heisman trophies, it's always the quarterback. They always win it, no matter what the circumstance. But I honestly was kind of geeked to see somebody who's perceived as having such little impact on the game today of football that he was able to come out and show out in the first playoff game. He scored 20 touchdowns this year. I think it's well deserved. I think he outplayed everybody. He was the best player in college football. So I'm actually, as a former receiver, I'm happy to see it. So.
All right, coming up, we're going to talk about LeBron James a little bit, even though I don't want to, and also Master P and what his thoughts are about Allen Iverson. We'll be right back. This is the W.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew. Winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live. Tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
All right, let's get into our Hater 11 section.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It. Hate it. If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
And this week, for sneakers of the week, we can start out with the Air Force One lows, the light armory blue. What are we thinking?
I mean, for a woman too, it's cool with me. I don't have to wear it.
Yeah, no, there's women that can make this look good, definitely.
Oh man, I would wear them. Their Forces lows. They got that light blue. That's your favorite color, Steve.
Who said? No, not my favorite color.
I thought that was your favorite color, man.
Nah,
you thought he was a powder blue kind of guy, huh?
I thought he was. My fault.
Now, don't get me wrong. It just depends on the shoe. I do like powder blue. If they have that North Carolina powder blue colorway, yeah, they cool. But I'm not necessarily a powder blue guy.
I think I'll have to pass on those ones. What about the Air Jordan 1 Retro High Volt Gold?
They cool.
Decent.
Yeah,
they cool.
I like these surprisingly. I don't know what it is about that highlighter color, but it's there. It does it for me.
It's speaking to you, ain't it? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And the LeBron 18 Chosen 2s.
I ain't gonna lie, these are hard. These are hard.
Yeah.
These are hard.
Yeah, I'm on the fence about them.
He teamed up with Kylian Mbappe, which is Soccer Star, and of course, he came out with some soccer cleats as well. So yeah, these are pretty dope.
Nah, these are tight. I like them a lot.
For sure. And last but not least, the Air Force One ugly sweaters.
Nike missed the mark on these. They were supposed to release December 10th. But we're after Christmas and they're just not coming out. So
Yeah,
go figure.
I ain't really rocking. I ain't
Go ahead, buy them and save them for next year.
Yeah, they could have kept these. They actually needed a new designer on those too.
I agree. But 5 Kansas City Chiefs players are selected to the 2020 NFL All-Pro team. The Chiefs tight end Travis Kelce leads the way with his unanimous selection, and Patrick Mahomes gets second team selection. Hate it or love it.
Hated it.
I'm not feeling that. I'm really not feeling the Patrick Mahomes second team. I'm just not feeling.
You gotta explain. You gotta explain. Go ahead.
Well. Here's the thing. He's clearly the best quarterback in the National Football League. I mean, game in and game out, whether they put their foot on teams' necks or not, he still hands down shows that he's the best quarterback. Now
And who got first team?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers got first team. So his commercial mate over there at State Farm got the first team. But in all seriousness though, I feel like Aaron Rodgers, this was just his year. I think he's going to win the NFL MVP as well. And they had to go. There's no way that they could really say that all right, Aaron Rodgers is an NFL MVP and give him second team All Pro. It just wouldn't have worked like that. So these same folks vote for the MVP. So that's just what it is.
Yeah, and that's just one of those, the old guard. He played well at his old age. Let's give him that because Pat has a long time to, I hate that. So yeah.
Surprisingly, I'm the only person that I feel like Aaron, he earned it. I feel like the margin was so small and Patrick slowed a little bit towards the end of the year. He started off as playing as if like an unprecedented pace. And I think he set his bar so high that when he actually had a couple of games that were well above average, but not super elite, I think people took that as, oh, he's falling off. And Aaron Rodgers kind of just had this steady elite throughout the season. So I just think the margins were very low. Like I would have chosen Patrick Mahomes, but I'm not so mad at Aaron Rodgers he threw for 48 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. I'm not mad at that. I can't be mad at it.
And the only other thing about it is that I'll kind of agree with the Aaron Rodgers thing is the fact that he doesn't have the weapons like Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill, Sammy Watkins. He doesn't have those guys. So it is what it is.
And Frank Gore is open to returning for his 17th NFL season. Hate it or love it.
Love it.
That's
Go
crazy.
get that bag. If they gonna continue to pay, if they're gonna continue to pay you, go get it.
Go get it. Yeah, go get it.
I agree. And a reporter accidentally mocked Trevor Lawrence's mustache after forgetting to mute their mic on Zoom. Hate it or love it.
Love it. We love these gaffes.
Oh my God. People really give out their thoughts willingly when they know they're in front of a camera, whether they think they're on mute or not. Like, come on.
Let's see the video.
Obviously, Ohio State played a really good game.
Poor Trevor needs to shave his stash.
Please mute if you're not speaking.
Thank you. But anyways, yeah, I don't remember what I was saying, to be honest.
Go ahead, David Hale.
Trevor, I think the mustache is coming in nicely for what it's worth.
Thank you, man.
Funny.
That's hilarious.
Man.
We've already been using Zoom. Have you guys had anything happen like that? Whether it's been you or whether it's been someone else on a Zoom call that you were on?
No, not yet. But not
stakes
on
that
wood.
high. Yeah, not stakes that high. Like you'll never get a personal interview with him again if he really wants to go that route.
Hate to see it. Now, Steve, LeBron James says, I think I'm going to put together an ownership group for the Atlanta Dream. Who's in? Hate it or love it?
You better love it.
I love it. I feel like it's good for him to, in all seriousness, stand up for wanting to do what's right. And I think taking over the Atlanta Dream is what's right. And everything that's going on down there in Atlanta, it's like Q said, changing of the old guard, right? It's making sure that you're doing the right thing, and I feel like he's going to be able to do it. And I would. It's kind of puzzling to me, and the reason I'm saying this is because I feel like he has enough money to go ahead and buy the WNBA team. I'm not sure how much a WNBA team is worth, probably a couple of $100 million. But I feel like he has enough money to just go ahead and purchase them himself.
Yeah, and LeBron looks at that
group.
Yeah, he definitely wants to put together a group. But when you look at LeBron, he's looking at this as like a trickle down effect. If your president is racist, the people below him that agree with him, they're probably going to be racist. But when you have a guy like LeBron that says, "Hey, let's put this community together. Let's do the right thing." I'm sure he's hoping that it trickles down to, other guys that just want to put some action forward. So love it.
Love it.
And Master P aims to make Allen Iverson for Reebok what Michael Jordan was for Nike. Hate it or love it.
It's too late. I
mean, he's already what Michael Jordan was.
Yeah, I mean, to them.
Yeah, but it's not the brand isn't going to be. They come out with some crazy like shoe deals and get superstars to wear them. It's not going to happen. I think Allen Iverson, his shoes have already come out. I don't think they're going to make anything new that's going to be appealing.
He's done playing. He's done playing too. Like that's the key aspect is Michael Jordan was still playing. He was still relatively young. He was new, fresh. Allen Iverson has been retired for at least 10
years plus.
Year.
And so I think the mark that you guys are missing is that, yes, Allen Iverson has been irrelevant for a while. But that was because of the people up top. Again, like we talked with LeBron, if the people up top have these sentiments, normally everybody else that agrees with them are going to have those sentiments. And Allen Iverson is an icon, killer crossover. He's still an icon in our culture and in basketball culture. And I think with the major push behind them, it's the same thing with music artists. If your music label isn't pushing you, if your record label isn't pushing you, nobody knows about you. And I think, culturally, I think this is where they want to take Reebok. It's not necessarily, I don't know if they necessarily want to focus on sports. I think it's more of a culture thing. So yes, I think it could happen.
But I don't, the reason I'm saying that, Q, is the fact that younger kids are what push the needle, right? I don't feel like kids today understand the significance that Allen Iverson had back when he was a man.
And you know how they understand it. You put Allen Iverson in their face, and then they become hype beasts.
Oh, of course you do.
Now, Hank Aaron, 86, receives COVID-19 vaccine and hopes to inspire other Black Americans to do the same. Hate it or love it? Hate it.
I like it.
I hate it. I do. The fact of it is like you're trying to push this on someone just because he's Black, just because he's an icon in the Black community. I don't agree with that. I mean, people are going to make their own decisions. Hank Aaron, you're 86 years old. You lived your life. I can't see why I would listen to Hank Aaron. I mean, he's lived his life. If anything and the reason why people don't want to take the vaccine is because the what if factors. Something could happen. It's not been proven yet. And so I just don't feel like, I'm going to listen to Hank Aaron and go out there and take the vaccine.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a personal decision, but I think what this is a lot of the misconceptions that are around it. I think it starts the conversation of people that are on the fence about what the vaccine is. I think a lot of Black people, yes, should be on the fence. But again, we're facing a global pandemic, something that has happened before. And it would be enough to just do some research on it personally. So,
what's funny about it though? We're not even hate to like say this, but we're not even in a global pandemic anymore. It's almost like we're in an American pandemic, just for the simple fact of like everywhere else opening up. Like,
yeah.
So we're just the only ones. That stinks to think about.
Right. And Peyton Manning, Calvin Johnson, Charles Woodson are among 15 finalists for Pro Football Hall of Fame, class of 2021. Hate it or love it?
I think they left a couple off the list, so I'm gonna hate it.
Hate it.
They left a couple guys off the list, you know. So
who did leave? Who did leave, man?
There are a couple. You know, I think Megatron is one. I think if even he's on that list, but what I'm hearing is, I mean, even though there's 15 finalists, I'm hearing that he won't get chosen. So we'll see. And if people didn't see the original list, here's the original list. I think Fred Taylor is one of those guys as well that should definitely be, you know, amongst the finalists.
Yeah, and Jared Allen should not be on there, but that's only my opinion.
You don't think so?
Not at all. Not at all.
All right, we appreciate everyone joining in on today's show. Remember, if you want us to ever talk about a topic, let us know. You can do that by doing the hashtag talk about it, and we will definitely get to it. Until next week, we are out of here.
Peace.
The W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who express them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.